Hello everyone, my name is Corazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. We are here in front of the home of the Master of Plaster, and in the last episode we put together this blacksmith, and I am really enjoying how it came out. I didn't expect to like that chimney as much as I do, but I do. And I just got back from a resin run that took us up by our old home, where I stayed the night, and we got 11 more resin, and I happened to pass by the treasure hunter trader, and he stole my gears. He stole them. That thief. No, actually, I found some treasure that I was really interested in buying. We have here a couple pieces of armor that I bought. We have the broken blackguard helm, or blackguard is the actual pronunciation of it, and we have the broken blackguard cuirass. And these look like horrible armor, and they are. And I spent something like 56 gears on the both of them combined. Why would I do that? Well, these can be upgraded into the damaged version, which is a little bit better than their current broken state. And then they can be upgraded into the full blackguard cuirass and the full blackguard helm. There's also a set of leggings, but the trader didn't have them. But we can upgrade them with these pieces of iron chain, which we'll be able to make eventually. So I wanted to pick these up because they are interesting armor to have, even if they're not terribly powerful. I mean, these are kind of on par, I think, with maybe the iron full plate or iron plate mail. So that is actually pretty good armor. But we'll see when we get there. In fact, I think this actually has better stats than the iron plate mail. Just looking at this, I'm pretty sure the iron has a minus 33% per piece. So this is actually better. So we're going to hang on to this for now, and I'm going to check back with that treasure hunter trader and see if he ever gets the leggings. And if not, I think we can find them in ruins, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see. And then once we get iron, we will upgrade them and we'll have some pretty nice armor. There's a second set called the Forlorn Hope armor that is sort of shiny and gold, and if we find a luxuries trader, we will pick some of that up. The treasure hunter trader also had some more lapis, and I picked it up. It was pretty cheap. It was like 1 gear for, I don't know, 6 pieces or so. And this will be handy just for labeling things in blue when I get tired of green. So today, I think I promised all of you a glimpse into the world of Helve hammers. And we're going to do that right here in our new blacksmith, utilizing this utility tunnel that we dug from the blacksmith over to the Tower of Power over here. And that means we will have to end up redoing some of this setup here, because we're going to need to insert a couple of large gears into our powertrain. And it looks like the wind is unfortunately kind of low right now, but maybe that'll pick up as we work on this. So, without further ado, let's get working. The first thing we're going to need is a Helve hammer. And although you can cast a Helve hammer head, and we did make a mold for it over here, it's actually cheaper material-wise to hammer it out on an anvil, because the mold requires 3 ingots worth of metal, but if you make it yourself on the anvil, it only takes 2, and some hammer durability. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Would you look at that, it does only take 2 ingots. Now that we have our Helve hammer head, let's go ahead and make us a Helve hammer. So we will need that, and this is just one rather small portion of the parts we will need in order to make the full setup. In addition to the Helve hammer itself, we need the Helve hammer base, which is something like this. And then we need the Helve hammer toggle, which is a different block from the toggle for the pulverizer, and that is made like this. Or I thought it was. Oh, that's my axe, not my hammer. There we go. So now we have all the parts that we need in order to make the Helve hammer itself, minus the connecting up to the rest of the powertrain part. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just take up these dirt blocks, so I don't think we need them anymore. Let's drop the Helve hammer base there and get stuck on it. Put the toggle, yes, like that. And then we'll put the hammer on just like that. And so as you can see, we have this 4-block long setup. And we'll put the anvil in the center. Clang. There we go. So now we're ready for that. Let's go and set up our mechanical part to get this working. Now I want to split the power coming down from our windmill into 2 outputs at the moment, because I don't want to lose the quern, but I also want to power the Helv hammer at the same time. So what we're going to do is build a large gear, and we will install it down here, and then we will run the quern from one output, and we'll send the second output all the way down the hall to our Helv hammers. Now, large gears are the big reason why we have been gathering so much resin, because each large gear requires 8 resin. So we need all these things. Saw, hammer, chisels here somewhere, I'll bet. There you are. And I apparently had just enough wood cut. So let's go ahead, and then we gotta put these together into the large gear. So you make the sections first, and then you put them together into one single gear at the end. And then we make it just like that. So now we have our large wooden gear, and now we need to find some more angled gears. So let's go ahead and tear some of this down. So I think we're going to place our large gear up here if we can. There we go. Because that means the output will be right at the correct level to come through our hallway here. So let's go and put one of these bad boys on here. Oh, only attached to axles. Okay. And we'll do some of that. And we'll do... There we go. Now we're turning. Magical gears floating here in midair. Whatever. It's physics, right? Now, I think in the long run, what we'll do is we will move this left 1 block, or I guess forward toward the door 1 block. For now, I'm not going to hook this back up at the moment, even though I said I wanted to. We will come back to that later when we actually need it. So let's go and let's get this coming out here. And we're going to need an angled gear here, and not quite what we're looking for, but maybe we're out of gears. Okay, more gears acquired. There we go. Now we have this really awkward, totally not magical, strange thing going on here. So let's get our shaft running down here. I think we should be able to go just straight up. Almost. We need to go out, and then we go up here. Just pop you there. And we're going to put this extra block right here to be the support for our angled gear, since it is so picky. And then, there we go. Listen to that slowly turn. That isn't too bad, actually. So, what can we do now that we have this Helv hammer? Well, we can do, at the present time, exactly one thing. Helv hammers can do 2 things. One that we can't do yet, which is work iron blooms. But the main function is to hammer out plates. And we need plates for our lighting. I have been holding off on making plates because making them by hand is incredibly painful. Now that we have this, we can turn out plates without also churning through hammers, because this Helv hammer has effectively infinite durability. It will never run out. So I'm going to go and make a forge and set a few things up in here, and let's get started making a plate. So we have some decent wind power, not super fast, but usable. And then we're going to heat up some ingots for our favorite, montage. And let's get you lit. And now that we are at workable temperature, let's go ahead and drop this on. And now we can just watch as our Helv hammer pounds out this plate for us. Oh boy, that took a little while. But after about 2 minutes, we have our plate, and we can grab our second set of ingots and put them on, and we won't sit through this one. We'll just talk about it. So this is great, right? It's automated. We don't have to work on it. We don't have to worry about tool durability. And we can even walk away and do other things. Maybe smith something else over here if we had another anvil. But, and I think, I'm going to ask this. I have to. How can we make this better? Repeat after me. How can we make this better? The answer, of course, is more hammers. And just as we talked about in episode 25, when we had the windmills in the creative world hooked up to multiple Helve hammers, that means we're going to need to increase our input since we are increasing demand on our output. So once this plate is done, I am going to go up to our tower and work on expanding our windmill setup there. But first, now that we have 2 more molybdenous plates, I'm making 2 more lanterns. You want to note that while you're making these, you are going to burn through your tool durability, because when used to make items like this, your tools take more durability damage than you'd expect. I already have to make a new saw, because my current one is at 7, and it won't let me make the last piece of large gear. So be aware of that. You're going to burn through hammers, chisels, and saws making this kind of stuff. Okay, so we are headed up here, armed with our sets of 3 windmill rotors, 1 large wooden gear, and enough materials to make 15 more sets of sails. So let's go ahead and get all this in so that we can get this working. There we go. Can you hang in the air? You can. Good. There we go, we are at maximum power. Well, for our current wind speed. So, now we need to get this power down into our... Ooh, there we go. Down into our power train. And we're going to do that by sending it down at an angle here, and then down this shaft against the wall. We're going to put a little friendly little axle down here. There you go. Now... let's feed that down into here. And then I am actually out of axles, so we are going to drop that there, and I will come back with some more axles. So there we go, we're all hooked up. And let's check out how things are going down here. Here we go. Things are turning. Let's go see how our Helve hammer's running. And look, you'll see it is going exceptionally slowly. And that's because, as we mentioned in episode 25, by feeding into that large gear up top and down the central axle for the shaft, we are down gearing it. We're gearing this down. And then what's happening here is we're not changing gears. We're going into a small gear and out a small gear. In fact, if we connected to the central shaft as the output shaft, then we'd be going even slower. We'd have massive torque, but we'd never get anything done. So what we're going to do is we're just going to angle this out here and bring this down to the central shaft. And that way we will be gearing down up above and gearing up down here, so that all of our output gears will be running at the same speed as the windmills do. And there we go. So now we have the high torque, low power coming in here, going into the central shaft, and now if we come back over here, you will see that our Helve hammer is working at peak efficiency, once again, despite no change in the wind speed. So the second half of this is going to be adding more help hammers to the setup, and we're going to do that by hopefully putting a third large gear in right in here and feeding that up into 3 more help hammers. So that means that we are going to need to smith ourselves 3 more help hammer heads, build some more toggles, build 1 more large gear, and so on. And even though we don't have our extra help hammer set up just yet, because I need to go on 1 more resin run, I'll do that in the morning, hopefully when it's calm, I'm going to take advantage of this situation here, and I'm going to get a bunch of plates hammered out for more lanterns. I will see you all on the other side when I have lanterns done, and when I have resin, and when we are ready to continue with this setup here. And we are back after a long resin run, and unfortunately we only have 12 resin. I went to the resin area to the south. I went and I picked up the resin down here that we discovered during our last exploration adventure. That got us, I think, 9 more, because I already had 3. And I think what I'm going to do is, at least for now, I might rejigger our tower, because as it stands, I have enough to make the large gear that's going to go under here, but I don't have enough resin to make enough angled gears to get power from that large gear and up here. However, we are using like 4 or 6 gears in our tower just to move the axle coming down from the gear up top out here and then back in. So we have 4 angled gears tied up in that. And I think what we can do is, at least for now, and maybe we'll come back and undo it later, but for now, because I want to be able to get both of these powered at once, I'm going to go and rejigger this a little bit and move our quern out of the way and get this powered directly from above, and then we'll see how many gears we have and take it from there. Well, my suspicions proved correct. We ended up not having enough angled gears for all 4, but I got 3 of them hooked up. So we have these 3 in the front, and we are just waiting for this one in the back, and we will fill that in as we can. We are a bit at the mercy of the winds here, so I'm going to go and work on replenishing our stick stock, because we burned through almost all of my sticks, and I had, I think, something like 800 sticks at the beginning of this, as well as a lot of lumber. We used so many logs, both for this build and for building all of the mechanical bits, whether using logs or the boards that you make from logs. So I'm going to go and cut down some of those oak trees that are over there, and we are going to go and come back when the winds are high. Okay, so it is a moderately windy day now. It's the next morning, and it looks like we are ready to go. So let's get some charcoal going here. Let's get that, and that, that, and that. We're going to go ahead and light up all of these. And here we go. Let's start the platoning. And look at them go. Wow. And we can even make this 1/3 faster. Someday. Someday, my friend. And like that, our first plate is done. So with this, we're going to be able to churn out tons of plates for lanterns, for hoppers, for anything that we need plates for, including, eventually, plate armor. So I am very much looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing where else we go from here. Now, it is, of course, Infrastructure Week, as I said before, and so next episode, we're going to take a look at the last machine that we can automate, the pulverizer. And that means we're going to need to find some more resin. So I'm going to wait a few days. I'm going to let the resin up by our old home regenerate and go harvest that. Maybe even look around for some more resin. And then in a couple days, I will come back and we will start our adventure in pulverizing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our adventure in building our Helv hammer setup and then starting to use it. And I hope that the lesson in how to hook up things via the wooden gears and axles was informative. Which reminds me, I never did show you how this was hooked up finally. So I did end up bringing the axle straight down from our tower and into this gear. And then directly at the bottom of this, I have an angled gear attached straight to the bottom of that. And it just comes over here and into this large gear here. And then from there, it goes up to our hell hammers. Now, I could have cut out this large gear entirely, because right now this large gear isn't powering anything. However, I do intend to use it to power the quern, which is sitting in here, and we will also be using it in the next episode to draw power from it to run the pulverizer. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and that way we have all of our large gears already made anyway, so we don't have to worry about finding resin for those, just resin for everything else. Well, that is about a wrap for this episode then. And as I mentioned in a couple episodes before, if you have any questions that you want to ask me that you don't want answered in comments but you'd like to have featured in a montage while building or mining or venturing, then please add the hashtag 20questions to your question and I will tag it for later use. Anyway, as always, my name has been Kurzar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.